All right, real fast video. How to save money at the dealership. As equipment's getting newer and newer, we're finding out, a lot of guys are finding out that it's getting harder and harder to work on. It's getting more like the automotive industry where you need special diagnostic tools, special computer programs. As the world's getting more computerized, and the farming community was catching up to the automotive industry, that if you have a problem and don't know what it is, you can't hardly diagnose it anymore. Now, if you're like me, you do all your own work at home, but for you guys that do that, awesome. That's the best way to keep your expenses low. So 10 years working for a Case IH dealer. We also sold Massey, Ferguson, Gale, Cub Cadet, Vicon. There's a whole list I don't even remember. So 10 years of dealership experience. I'll give you my secrets to help save some money the next time you have to bring your piece of equipment to the dealership. First off, if it's a tractor that needs a clutch, you need a clutch put in. Your clutch is bad, you don't have a cement floor for floor jacks, or like the 986, you need a splitting stand to split it apart. And it has to go into the dealer. If it has a loader, take it off. Take the loader off and leave it at home. Take the frame rails off. Don't let them on. It might only take you an hour or two. When it gets to the dealership, you're gonna have to pay a guy like me, well, pay the dealership $50 to $100 an hour to take off your loader, which you could do at the farm. If it has a loader, take it off, leave it at home. You don't need to send it with the tractor. How many times we had tractors that came in for clutch work or engine work or front axle work, or even something as simple as putting in a new radiator. They came in with the loader on, and the customer is going to pay the mechanic to take the loader off, and it saves us time and your bill will be a lot better. Second thing, if it has to be split, and you can ask the dealer, a lot of the service managers will tell you what all has to be done, and ask him if it has to be split apart. One thing we used to do, now not if there was a couple weights, we wouldn't bother with it, but if you had a full rack of weights on the front, if it was packed from one end to the other with weights, take them off. Don't send it to the dealer with the front wheel weights on it if it has to be split, because most splitting stands and some of these tractors, if you have, I don't know, a ton on the front, when we split it apart, you're gonna have all that weight out front, and the service manager had us take all the weights off. So there you're paying another hour. So we still didn't address the clutch issue, but we had to take your loader off and take the front weights off. So that's number two. Don't send it in with front weights on it if it has to be split. Third, if you have rear end work to be done, like if this 685 went in and needed a parking brake, you can see it has a canopy and a roll bar. Take it off at home. If you can do it at home, if you have a loader, if you have a chain hoist in the shop, whatever you have, to get this top cover off to put in a parking brake or any transmission work, chances are the fenders are going to have to come off, the seat's going to have to come off, and a roll bar roof canopy. So there's something you can do at home. Now, it won't take an hour to get it off, but you never know. What if the bolts are rusted fast? What if you can't get them off? What if you break them off? What if you got to go in there and heat them up with a torch? You could get an hour in taking a canopy off. So if you have a loader, front weights, and a canopy, you just paid probably 2.5 to 3 hours on the bill to do that. Another thing, needs engine work. If it needs any type of work, take the hood off. Don't send it to the dealer with the hood on. The hood isn't going to make it run any better or run any different. There's nothing you need the hood to diagnose for most times. Now, if you have a flip-up hood, that's a little bit different. But if you have a Erector Set International hood that has 13 or 14 bolts, and there's 20 minutes till you get all these bolts out. And again, maybe it won't take 20 minutes. Maybe it'll take an hour. What if they're rusted in again? What if you break some off and have to re-drill them out to be able to put the hood back on? That's all stuff you can do at home. That's stuff you can save time, you can save money. If it has to be split apart, or if it needs engine work, send it to the dealership without the hood on. I know on the Case Magnum tractors, it was pretty much work just to get the exhaust pipe off if you had to split it. They'd split there and then back. A lot of them needed rear engine seals put in. And just the simple thing of getting that exhaust stack that comes out here and the post that it sits on and up, that has to come off to get out of the way. And that always exhaust, anything was working on exhaust, they're rusty, they're time consuming sometimes. So if it's something that you see is going to have to come off, or they tell you, you can send it to the dealership without that on it. They're not going to complain that you did some of the work ahead of time. Number 4, 5, 6, wherever I'm at, wash it off. We had a wash bay, and you'd be surprised the amount of people that send equipment to the shop that are filthy, especially on a if they're in manure and stuff. Oh, skid loaders would come in just caked full of manure, pig manure, turkey manure. And if you think the mechanic is going to work on your piece of equipment covered in manure, you're thinking wrong. First thing we did was bring it into the wash bay, take all the everything off that had to come off, and then we would high pressure wash the whole thing. Now we had hot water pressure washer, which helps. But again, wash it off. If it's a mess, if it's dirty, if it's oily, greasy, whatever, wash it all off, especially if it's something that you want to bring in and needs leaks fixed. If it has leaks, wash it off. That way when it gets there and we can run it and see right where the leaks are, where the fresh oil's coming. All you have to do is say, hey, I just washed it off. So if there's any fresh oil, that's where it's leaking. Fuel tanks. Excuse me. Now the 986 doesn't have the saddle tank, but if you have an 86 series that comes in with the 2 tanks and it needs a TA, or let's say the 685 again, let's say that fenders had to come off to do a parking brake or anything in the transmission, don't fill your fuel tanks when you bring it in. It just seemed that everybody, when they brought a tractor in for service, when they knew it needed work, they'd go and fill the fuel tank before it went to the dealer. I don't know why. That saddle tank has to come off of the 86 series to get in there for the MCV and the center section the TA housing split. And you can shut off some of the fuel lines. And we used to have a huge hose clamp or pinching pliers, hose clamp pliers for the top. But a lot of times we had to drain how many gallons out of it to get the tank out. There's more time. There's another 30 minutes, but it could be more. So yeah, clean the stuff up. If you have a loader or a backhoe or bale spears or any extra stuff that has nothing to do with what the issue is, take it off at home. It's money well saved. You can take it off and do this stuff a lot cheaper at home than you're going to be paying the dealer $50 to $100 an hour. And we can get at it faster. Sometimes there's a backlog of work to do. If we're real busy, if it's spring and things are piled up, if you already have the hood off, you already have the loader off, and it's a pretty straightforward job, if it's clean, we're going to jump on it. Believe me. Especially if somebody else brought in a backhoe that's filthy from top to bottom and has all the loader frame and everything on it that shouldn't be on, we're going to go to yours first just to get it done. So another thing about that, spring, most guys wait until spring to bring their equipment in to get worked on. It was terrible with lawnmowers, people not thinking ahead, and in the spring they'll get it out of cold storage and try to mow some grass, and they'll find an issue, and the place was just swamped with lawnmowers, lawn and garden stuff, because there again, it just sat in storage all winter. If it had an issue, they didn't bother with it. Some dealers might even give you a discount if it's an off season. In the winter, we'd be standing around just looking for work. If a piece of equipment rolled in, you had everybody wanting to jump on it to get it done. Wintertime's a great time. And especially when we're real busy and backlogged and have a lot of work to do, we're gonna fix it, but the attention to detail, and you know how it is, you're trying to get stuff done, and it's not like in the wintertime when things are slower, you do a better job, you take more care in the work, you're a lot more cleaner. I always thought so, compared to having the pressure of all all the work that's piling up and trying to get stuff done and get stuff out of there. So talk to your dealer, see if you can get a wintertime discount. Sometimes it's 5% off shop labor. But do those couple simple things at home. Most farmers can do them at home and save you some money. I mean, like I said, a lot of this stuff doesn't have to be done at the dealer, and we don't need a lot of this stuff on the tractor to fix the problem. We don't need the hood on, we don't need the roll bar on. So yeah, just talk to the service manager, ask them, is there anything you can do to help make their job easier, especially if they're busy, and you can get in and out of there with the work completed and some money saved. So thanks for watching, guys. I might do a part 2 of this as I think of stuff, thinking back on my 10 years of different stuff that we dealt with and different types of customers. And not everybody was like that. There were some people that thought ahead. We had some real fussy customers and some guys that did everything they could to make the job easier for us and to save money for them. So I'll do a part 2, but those are just some of my thoughts. If you have any other thoughts, go ahead and comment. So thanks for watching.